Scent of the forgotten. I was devastated when my family gathered around the dinner table that night, laughter spilling out like poison. The moment I mentioned my work as an olfactory investigator, their faces twisted into grotesque masks of disbelief and contempt. "You're wasting your life on that nonsense," my father sneered, his fork clattering onto his plate. "You'll end up in a lunatic asylum, and I won't be visiting you." I could still feel the heat of their derision, the way they laughed as if the very idea of scent archaeology was a pathetic joke. They didn't understand that the line between reality and the unknown is far thinner than they believed. My obsession was born out of desperation after being fired from my perfumer position for contaminating a luxury fragrance line with a stench It had been my own colleagues who orchestrated my downfall, and the foul odor that had ruined my career was now a relentless specter that shadowed my every thought. Years passed in isolation. I buried myself in abandoned spaces, haunted buildings, and forgotten territories, mapping the sense of the past. I was often ridiculed. Sensory nonsense, they called it. In my pursuit, I faced the scorn of the very people I had once called family. Yet the scent of the forgotten propelled me forward. Each whiff of decay, every memory-triggering odor, brought me closer to the truth. I became known in certain circles, an expert in paranormal scent archaeology, uncovering the hidden horrors that lingered in the air long after the events had faded into memory. Until one fateful night, I stumbled upon something that would change everything. In an old asylum, I discovered a scent that felt like a waking nightmare, the lingering aroma of fear, regret, and death. It was so potent that it wrapped around me like a shroud, whispering secrets that clawed at the edges of my sanity. I recorded everything I could, determined to understand the scent that evoked such visceral memories of the past, and the ghosts that lingered with it. And now I was returning home, not as the disgrace they had laughed at, but as a harbinger of truths that shook the very fabric of existence. My family would see me differently, I thought. I would prove them wrong. The knowledge I carried was both a blessing and a curse. The evening I arrived, the sky was a bruised purple, threatening rain. As I stepped into the house that had once been my sanctuary, the air felt thick with an unspoken tension. My mother was the first to notice me, her smile faltering as she took in my disheveled appearance, the bags under my eyes, the wildness in my hair. "Look who it is!" she exclaimed, but her voice was strained. A thin veneer over something darker. "The crazy scent-obsessed child has returned!" I swallowed hard, fighting the urge to lash out. "I'm not crazy," I said, the tremor in my voice betraying my confidence. "I've uncovered things you wouldn't believe." They gathered in the living room, the air charged with their skepticism. I took a deep breath, focusing on the scents I had collected, the memories I had mapped. "You think it's nonsense, but I've found something real," I said, my voice rising. "I've discovered scents that awaken the dead." My father chuckled. "What, do you think you're some sort of ghost whisperer now?" I pressed on, desperation creeping in. "No, listen, I brought something with me." From my bag, I produced a small vial, the contents swirling like a dark storm. "This is the essence of the asylum, the scent of those who never left. It's the truth behind the haunting." "Enough of this," my mother snapped, the warmth in her eyes replaced with fear. "You're scaring us." I uncorked the vial, and a wave of air rushed forth, a rancid, metallic odor that filled the room, clawing at the walls and seeping into their very souls. The laughter faded, replaced by a profound stillness. Their expressions shifted from mockery to horror, the realization dawning on them like a slow, creeping shadow. "What have you done?" my father gasped, clutching his stomach as if he had been struck. The scent enveloped them, the air thickening with echoes of despair. Memories of those who suffered and died within those walls. I watched, paralyzed as they began to see, no, feel, the truth of what I had become. The walls shuddered, the shadows danced, and whispers filled the air. "Please, stop," my mother cried, tears streaking her face. "We were wrong. Just stop." But it was too late. The weight of the knowledge I carried bore down upon them like a funeral shroud. They could no longer deny the horrors I had faced. The scent of the forgotten had come to claim them. As my family writhed in their newfound terror, I felt a dark satisfaction wash over me. They had mocked my passion, but now they witnessed firsthand the consequences of their disbelief. I was not a disgrace. I was a vessel of truth, a warning of what lay beyond the veil of sanity. When the scent finally faded, I stood alone, surrounded by the echoes of my family's cries. Their laughter had turned to silence. Their mockery replaced by a haunting realization. They were no longer the family that had cast me aside. They were prisoners of their own ridicule, trapped in a reality they had chosen to ignore. As I left the house that night, I glanced back, a chill running down my spine. The shadows of my past would forever haunt me, but I was no longer powerless. I was a keeper of the forgotten truths, a survivor of the horrors others had dared not confront. And as I stepped into the darkness, I knew that the world would remember my name, not as a disgrace, but as a harbinger of the unspeakable truths we all fear to acknowledge.